All right. Thank you so much, Sebastian. Hi, everyone. I'm Carly Osborne with the Washington State EAP. I thank you for joining me today and, of course, being flexible with scheduling. Things pop up and kind of throw things off course. So we're really glad that you could be here. Today's presentation, we are going to talk about who the EAP is and the services that we offer to you through your employer. So, again, if you have questions, go ahead and pop those in the chat and I will answer them at the end. I want to make sure that we get through all this information for anyone who might actually have to leave early. So, let's get started. Really quick, just kind of an overview of who we are. Washington State EAP has been a program in service in Washington State for over 50 years. We began as a program to help people who were struggling with alcohol misuse and as it related to their workplace. And over time, we recognized that we could be doing more for people. So our services expanded to where we are helping people holistically, meaning that whether it's a work or personal concern, it's still something that we can help provide support in. We are a dedicated local team. Everyone who works for EAP is located here in Washington State. We do have a huge network of providers, so other clinicians that we contract with to make sure that we're covering all areas of the state. And then for those people who work for the UW who might actually live in another area of the country, we've recently started bringing in contracted counselors in those areas as well because it's really helpful to just have someone who's in the same area as you to meet with should you need them. In addition to being a support that's available to you, we are also a support for the members of your household. So whoever it is, those young people in your life, the people that live with you, we're here to help provide these same supports to them as well. So we do our best to try to support every member of the household. Just to let you know, we are a mostly virtual program, which makes things a lot more flexible for the counselors. It means that they can, meet with people more frequently. We don't have to worry about having everybody come into our office in Olympia. But these are our core hours where we are staffed. That is our website and our phone number. Those are available to use anytime you need to. I'll actually explain a little bit more about using our number for 24/7 support in just a bit. But this is who we are. Again, Monday through Friday, but we also always have on-call staff as well. We do have a pretty rigid structure in terms of how the program is run. We have a director, so we have the EAP staff who are not clinical. So our directors are me, our contract manager. So we help with all of the operations support and education awareness. Then we have our clinical staff, and these are the people that when it's, you like, I could really use some support, someone to talk to, or someone in your household, like I could use someone to talk to. These are the people that you'll actually meet with. And I'm probably a little bit biased, but our counselors are truly amazing. And then, of course, those contracted providers that I had spoken about. So, what do? We do a lot for such a small program. Providing support for employees and families, we have services like counseling, again, that 24/7 support, outreach, or as we call it, awareness and education. We also have work life resources that are available to you through the service where you can receive help and consultation around financial and civil legal matters as well. And then anyone who's a supervisor who chose to come today instead of next week, we also have some specific services for you around organizational consultations and response to critical incidents as well. So looking at our services, I always start with counseling. And the reason I do that is because it is the most utilized service that we have that people tend to use. We see about 98% of people self-refer to the EAP program, meaning that they attended a session like this and decided that, hey, I'd love to talk to someone, or they saw a brochure somewhere, they talked to an HR person, whatever that might be. They come to us because they're like, this is a great service. And with that, with our counseling, we are not set up to be long-term therapy. With EAP counseling, we are solution focused, meaning you have a specific concern that you brought to us. So stress management is a really big one lately. So you're feeling stressed, you could use some stress management techniques to help you break out of that stress cycle. So when you come to us and you're like, I'm here and I'm feeling really, really stressed out, you that's what we're gonna focus on. So things like that. You get up to 3 sessions per concern, meaning that you are not limited to how often you can use the service. So, if you're stressed out in March and that's why you come talk to us, but then maybe there's some conflict resolution in August, you can come right back to us and meet with a counselor again and get some help with that, which is why, it is short-term counseling, and solution focused. It's just so it gives you the opportunity to work through those immediate problems. All of our counselors are at least master's level clinicians. They are licensed to practice in the state of Washington. We also know that reaching out for assistance there's some barriers in place. There's things that can cause us to be hesitant to reach out. And so what we've done is we've tried to reduce some of those barriers by allowing you to self-schedule for intake appointments, by creating an online intake form so you don't have to worry about trying to call someone like you would a primary care physician to set up an appointment. And we also are really, really adept at providing referrals and resources to other things that you might need to help with the concerns that you bring to us, such as life and work change, stress management, whatever it is. The counselors have often said there's no issue too big or too small to bring to us. We don't have to just be service used for intervention. We can be a preventative service as well. And if it's something that's not within the scope of our work, we're still going to do our best to try to find a resource that will help you. So it's okay to bring us a question, even a concern, even if you feel like it's something we might not handle. But please do bring us those concerns. We're going to do our best to support you. Continuing on with speaking about our counseling service, we have it down to about 5 steps, which is pretty amazing because, again, another barrier is long wait times and just the kind of the uncertainty that comes with not knowing what's going to happen next. So with these 5 steps, the first 4, right now, we are averaging 3 to 4 business days for non-emergency issues. So from the time you submit your intake form to the time you meet with your intake counselor and get that appointment for the other counselor scheduled, you're looking at 3 to 4 days. Really great. So it does start with that online intake form. And then we self-schedule an appointment. We go to talk to our counselors and move on from there. And I'm just going to peek really quickly because I'm not the one who wrote this particular presentation. So I wasn't certain what my next slide was going to be, and I didn't want to get ahead of myself. But what this process looks like is by going to eap.wa.gov, navigate to the employee page. You can do that by, if you're a person who looks for colors or something to click on, big blue box reads employees, click on that. It takes you right to the counseling page. It tells you everything about eligibility, what to expect, where to fill out the form. And then you have 2 options. There's individual counseling, which is single person. This is just for me. I just could use some support. Or we also have relationship counseling, where if there is, stuff going on within the people who live in your household, or maybe, a partner who doesn't live with you, an interpersonal relationship, we can also help provide short-term solution-focused counseling for that as well. So you just pick the one which is most applicable to your situation. If you are doing relationship counseling, everybody who's going to be involved will have to fill out the same intake form. And then they get matched up in the system. So when you meet with the counselor, you're in the sessions together. The form itself only takes about 3 minutes to fill out. It is pretty simple. There are required fields that can occasionally cause some people to kind of take a moment and step back and think about it. Those first 2 are that we do ask who your employer is, and we ask if you're the covered employee, so if you're the person working for that organization, or if you're the household member. This is only for our information. We don't verify this. So if you say, I work for the UW, we're not going to call and say, yes, we need an employee verification check. We don't do that. If one of your household members decides to utilize the service and they put down that you're the employee, we're not going to call you to double check that this person is in fact a member of your household. So again, it is just for us and just make sure that we are helping our clients as best we can within that time period we like to work in. So it's okay to answer those questions. There's also optional demographic information, which, again, it's optional. You don't have to answer it, but the more information you share with us, the better able we are to connect you to a counselor who's going to work for you. So if you want someone of a specific age, specific gender, maybe someone who has experience with particular life experiences or location, whatever that might be, the more information you share, the better we are at finding that person for you. So, fill out the form, about 3 minutes, you hit submit, and within 24 hours, you will receive an email back that has another link in it. It'll have a client intake number. It's going to tell you about next steps, but there's a big blue link in it. When you click that link, it opens up to the online booking calendar, and this is where you schedule that first intake appointment. And because we're working on your schedule, you pick the date and time that works best for you. If you filled out that intake form and you haven't gotten the booking confirmation email within 24 hours and it's not a junk folder, spam folder, you didn't pull a me and misspell your name, whatever it is, if that has not shown up in your inbox, please feel free to reach out, give us a call and let us know so we can find out what happened and get you back on track to making that appointment. So schedule the intake appointment. On the day of the intake appointment, the counselor contacts you. I believe most of the intake appointments are taking place via the phone, although I do believe there's a Zoom option if that was easier for you. This appointment is only about 15 to 30 minutes long. The counselor goes over the form that you've submitted. They're going to ask you some questions, try to get to know who you are and how we can help. And then they are going to connect you to your counselor. And this works in two different ways. So if scheduling aligns with one of our in-house EAP counselors, meaning the people who work for us full time, while you're on the phone with the intake counselor, they'll set that appointment for you. If you're going to meet with one of those contracted providers because you work for Washington State, but you're currently living in New York, and you want someone who's in the same time zone as you, we're going to take your information and we are going to go into our database. We're going to find that counselor. We're going to give them your information. That counselor will reach out to you to set up the appointment. And then you move on to having your appointments. The appointments with the counselors are very collaborative. They work with you to find a solution. They provide skill set, opportunity for growth, whatever that might be. And then you work together to determine whether you need 1, 2, or 3 sessions. And then at the end of those sessions, a couple of different outcomes present themselves. A lot of people find that they found the support and resources that they need, and they're like, this is great. If I ever need this again, you'll see me again. Other people, they've got that foothold. They think they've got it down, but they could use some more resources because maybe they want to continue learning about stress management techniques on their own. The counselor can work with you to find those resources to help you continue on with that. And for other people, they decide that they really, really like having someone to talk to that isn't a friend or a family member because, that neutral third party can be very, very helpful. And they decide they'd like to continue exploring longer term therapy, in which case we can help facilitate that transfer. We do know the insurance companies, we work with them very frequently. Many of our contracted providers also do continue to take on clients after they've worked with them for a few sessions. I recently met someone who was partnered with one of our contracted counselors 2020 and they're still seeing them. So we can help facilitate that in case that is something that you're looking for. So this is the process you would do anytime you needed to reach out to a counselor for support. Yes, you do have to do the online intake form every time. It's just one of those things. However, you are always welcome to ask to speak with the same counselor you had before if you really like them. But it's also important to know that, once you're matched with that counselor, if you're a couple sessions in or it's your first session and you leave that feeling like, I don't know that this person and I are going to work well together, you can also call us and we can find a different counselor for you and you get those appointments over again. So we try to be as flexible as possible when it comes to our counseling. Continuing on with that type of support, we do also have availability to speak to counseling support 24/7, 365 days a year. Because let's face it, we're not always going to be in that moment where we could use someone, every day, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Usually it's, the 2 o'clock in the morning when you can't sleep or you just experience something stressful and you need someone to talk to. So in this case, this is a service that you access by calling our phone number, the 877-313-4455 number. If it's during hours when EAP staff are there and available to answer the phone, you just need to let them know that you need to speak to a counselor and they're going to connect you to that counselor. If you call after hours, once the recording picks up, you just push 2 on your keypad and it again connects you with that counseling support. Now, a couple of really important things to know with this. One, this shouldn't be used as a replacement for emergency services. If you're in a situation where there's imminent threat of harm to yourself or someone else, that is definitely a call for emergency services, whatever that might look like for you. 911, 988, campus support, whatever that is, call them first. And then after everything's kind of settled down and you're out of that direct moment and those feelings really start hitting you, that's when you would reach out to us. This is for that, the crisis that really impacts you without causing, lasting effects. So please do not use it as replacement for emergency services. And also know that once you've had this time to talk with this counselor, if you would like, they will pass your information on to our on-call EAP counselor, who will reach out within 24 hours just to follow up, make sure you're doing okay. So it's a really great wraparound supportive service to help you during those times where we might not necessarily be right there and available to you. So again, this is what it looks like. 877-313-4455. You can be press 2 to be connected or asked to speak to someone. Speak to them. You can request follow-up if you want to. And then EAP counselors follow up with you. They're going to talk about how you're feeling, provide additional services, resources, whatever it is that you might need. So it is really helpful just to kind of keep this number around. As I said, there is also access to the work-life resources. These are something that your employer felt would be of benefit to you. So this is the only page on our website that is actually access code restricted. Your access code is U as in university, W as in Washington, so just UW. When you select that page and you log in, you have access to legal assistance, which can include a 30-minute consultation via the phone with an attorney to talk about anything civilly related. They do not do work issues. You also have access to financial counseling. So if you're looking to save to buy a house, pay off some debt, whatever that financial issue might be or that financial concern, you have that as well. There's also an online will maker. There are other legal DIY forms that are on there to help you. I saw a question pop up about, does the legal assistance provide wills and DNRs? You can absolutely talk to an attorney about that. But yes, the forms are also there on the website for you to fill out for yourself. They're pretty simple. But in addition to those types of legal and financial services, there's also other resources. And those are things like a savings center, so coupon discounts. There's a provider database to help you find things like elder care, child care, pet care. They also provide information. They have informational webinars every month about work-life topics. They just have tons of information on there. You could really lose yourself kind of exploring that site. The question that just popped up about tax service, they do not do tax services, but I know that when it is tax season, they do put up information about resources that you can reach out to for help with tax preparation. But the financial counselors don't specifically do that. Again, the password is just UW. And I know that Jessica has pointed out before that you have an intranet site. I believe it's a wellness website where she does have all of this information listed so that it's easy for you to access. I might have to have Sebastian clarify that if he can, but there is a code listed on site for you where you are able to access it. If you ever forget it, you can always reach out to EAP too. So moving on here. This is what the page looks like. So when you come to the website, under the employees section that we talked about earlier, that blue button that reads employees, that little blurb has the two clickable links. There's the link to click to go to the online intake form, and there is the link you can click for work/life resources. When you click that one, it opens up this page. I will say that because we are updating our website, this page has also updated just a little bit. So it no longer says organizational code, it is access code, because there was some confusion with the term organizational code. And it's also really amazing. They updated their site and it looks so great now. So that's how you would access it. This is also a resource that those household members of yours can access as well. You know, this we do highly encourage you to check it out because it is an incredible resource. So moving on, kind of moving on to talk about the area that I oversee, which is outreach. Again, we call it education and awareness. And through this, what we do is, sometimes you're not looking for counseling. You're not looking to have a conversation with someone. You just want information, you want to attend a training, or you're someone who has that it falls under your purview of your job to schedule things like presentations or webinars. And that's what we also try to provide is that well-being aspect as well. And so through this, we do have a pretty large roster of presentations available that are growing almost every day. So we provide live and on-demand webinars every month. We post them to our website at the beginning of the month. So for example, this month we have our live Wellness Wednesdays for February. They happen at noon every Wednesday. We are also doing, I think we did self-compassion. I scheduled them. You'd think I'd remember, but we post them all there. They are free to attend. They're open to anybody who wants to attend, and they just cover a variety of work and life topics. We do have things like an archive of employee and supervisor newsletters that we keep on our website. We don't actively write newsletters anymore because we've been able to transition to having more live content. But the archive is there, and there's some great articles in those resources as well. You'll also find copies of our brochures and flyers. They are great to print out if should you need them. For anyone else here who is responsible for things like scheduling presentations and stuff, we are also available to be at wellness fairs, to present during your meetings, your all staffs, whatever that might be. As far as resources go, because again, sometimes you don't want to talk to this person, you're just looking for something you can read or share with someone. We are working really hard to improve that on our website. So we do have resources regarding suicide prevention and intervention. We discuss grief and loss. There are specific resources surrounding racism and mental health. There's resource guides that we publish. So when things are going on, whether it's locally, nationally, globally, we create these resource guides that are meant to help provide things that you can do to help yourself work through whatever it is that we're experiencing. And then there's also additional tools for supervisors. And like I said, we are getting a brand new website, hopefully by April. And we're hoping that we're to continue improving our resource database so that we have just more information available for you. So we do pride ourselves on being able to provide resources like that as well. This is just an example of what the suicide prevention and intervention page looks like right now. We do talk about this particular resource quite a bit because it is something that is very prevalent within our workplaces and in our personal lives. It's also just a really good example of the type of information that we share out with people. It will look a little different when the new website launches, but again, it's this type of information that you can expect to see when you access our website. And believe it or not, I got through all of that in about a half hour. So I am here to answer questions. I'm seeing some in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and answer those if I have not already. So I see a question about retirement. When you retire, you still have access to EAP resources for 90 days. So you'll have it for up to 90 days. The information, including requests. No, your employer cannot see any forms that you submit. So if you do an online intake form and you come in for counseling, they don't have access to that information. They can't call us and request to see that information. It doesn't go in an employee file. If they were to reach out and say, hey, we just want to know how often people use the service, we can run them a report that's very anonymized. So it'll say like of the XYZ number of employees, 52% used services within the past calendar year. So they do not ever get names or information about you as an EAP client. So we really do take our privacy and confidentiality very, very seriously. So I hope that answered that question for you. I did go over wills and DNRs, but again, those are accessible through the work life resource. We do have the free online will maker that you can download. It is for simple wills. For anything that might require a bit more support, that is a perfect time to reach out to that legal support and talk to them about things like trusts and DNRs and such. There are also other legal online forms that you can do yourself too. And again, they're always kind of the simpler versions of them for people who might not have super complicated needs. But again, reach out to those legal advice should you ever need it. And I did see, we did the tax question. Sebastian did share the page for how to access the work life resource with the code that will be visible. So again, it's just U and W. We do our best to try to make it really simple for everyone. That is all of the those are all of the questions that I do see here in the chat. But if there's any others, I do welcome them. You're welcome to put them in the chat or unmute if you would like to. Um, Anything that I didn't make clear, please let me know. Whatever works for everybody.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Carly. You work wonders.
I try.
And yes, the amazing resource, and it is visible there as well. If there's any more questions you have that we may not be that you weren't able to ask or would like to ask privately, uh, there's also the work life inbox as well as reaching out to EAP directly, as Carly mentioned. But yeah, I will be sending a recording of this session out to everybody that's registered later on as soon as I get that uploaded and edited here. But for anybody that was late or would like to see this again, there is that. And we do have another EAP session and on the 26th coming up here for managers as well, and resources for them if anybody is interested. But yeah, I think if nobody has any other questions, we can stick around here for maybe just like a minute or two. But otherwise, thank you everybody so much for joining.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you again, Carly. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you. Hope everyone has a great day. And like I said, we'll be back next Wednesday.
I think it might be next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. Whatever that other Wednesday is. One
All the
of those
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.